Hello, this is Rania Cornell from the Fall 2019 VIP or Vertically Integrated Projects team. This video is going to be, review of the shortcomings and the wish list for this project. Um, I'll start with the shortcomings here. First, the student project applications do not currently support multiple student applications, as we didn't have the time to write a parser to map a string of an array back to an array in the system. Um, as well as product owner accounts do not currently have PO specific abilities applied, despite them actually being available, in particular to the admin account, as you can see here, like the ability to submit a project as well as edit a project. This is because we ran out of time as we were getting assistance from the SBWA team with implementing roles into the back end of the system, but they weren't able to come through before we had to stop working. Um, Another thing is that evaluation submissions are not limited currently, or rather, they do not overwrite each other, which causes duplicates to be present in the database when a student resubmits an evaluation. Uh, in particular, about this, a team will have to ask Sajadi if that should be fixed, or if resubmission should be disallowed entirely, such that duplicates would never appear because students could only submit once in the first place. Um, Another shortcoming is that the evaluation review page is not completely linked to the database as it stands. Projects and evaluations are currently populated in the code, and as far as we can tell, they work properly. But the lack of an array string parser, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, as well as the problem with duplicate evaluation submissions, which I just mentioned, makes us unable to properly implement the filter and sorting for projects and evaluations related to them. Essentially, as you can see, if we click the project name, it populates the names of the projects that were listed on the project page. And if you look into the code, you can see you have all the information in the project available to you on the page as well, but not currently used, as well as the information for the evaluations in the database are currently populated, but since we weren't able to parse anything, we aren't able to currently display them on the page and actually sort between the tabs here as well as by project and sprint. Another shortcoming is that some buttons on the evaluation review page seem slow on some platforms but fine on others, seemingly at random. For example, on my Windows PC and laptop, they're sometimes delayed, but on my partner Gersh's emulated Windows VM running on a Mac machine, everything works fine, and response time seems to be snappy every time he shows it to me. This oddity may be caused by some implementation issues with Matte Blazor, which may be a reason to re-implement the visual design of the page using something other than Matte Blazor, which you can see here. If I click the sprint button, it might take a while to come. If I click it again, or if I click off, as you can see, that's an issue. The buttons essentially don't work sometimes, but as you saw earlier, it did work. If I refresh the page, it should work fine. But then it stops working again, or it comes slow like you just saw, which is a big issue. The same goes for the tabs as well. Switching is not snappy on my machine personally, but on Gersh's everything works just fine, which is very odd. And that's all for the shortcomings we could think of immediately. For the wish list, the first thing we thought of is that the project listings don't currently need to be approved before they show up on the list. If we go to the projects page, this may not be necessary, as green check marks, as you can see here, denote approved projects, but Sajadi should really be consulted as to how he'd like this to work. Right now, everything shows up, and the green ones are the ones that are actually approved. Maybe this should be relegated to an admin view where an admin can see every single project, but students can only see the approved ones. You really have to ask Sajadi as to exactly how he'd like this to play out in the system. The last thing on the wish list is that the overall UI and UX of the web pages are lacking, as everything we implemented was focused more on being functional rather than being as easy as simple to use as possible, such that front-facing users could really actively use it. Uh, in particular, you can see like there are some fields here that aren't being filled in right now. All that data is available on the back end, and it would be a simple fix to just change them here to show up. But we aren't sure, but we weren't sure of the design, as well as we decided to focus more on implementing things in the back end rather than worrying too much about the design, leaving that for the future teams. In particular, the we would we'd like to have the visual design of the pages changed, basically making things prettier, and focusing more on a front-facing user actually being able to use the product without the need for any big tutorials or anything like that. More specifically, we'd like things like visual feedback upon like applying to a project, like a success message or something, as well as giving the ability to unapply and disabling the ability to apply to other projects, as well as something like visual feedback upon submitting evaluations. Things like this. Right now, you get visual feedback uh, when you're able to submit, but if you click the submit button, it goes to the database, which I can check right now, and the submission will be there. But as far as the user is concerned, nothing has changed. Right, and they're just able to submit again, which relates to one of the earlier shortcomings I mentioned. Um, you should really talk with Sajadi about what specifically he'd like to have happen, but these are just some things we noticed and what we would have changed had we been given more time to work on the project and really iron out all the kinks. I believe that's all for now. Thank you for your time, and the best of luck to the future teams, as well as major thanks to Sajadi and the other teams, the SPWA team and the MJ team, who helped Gersh and I a lot working with this project. Thank you for your time once again.